BRICS versus USA, a global power shift? What does it mean when the world's richest and most powerful country starts losing influence? In Brazil, we see a Ford factory lying abandoned. In the same space, Chinese electric vehicle giant BYD is producing cars. This isn't just industrial rebranding, this is a symbol of global power shifting. Today, we break down the data behind the rising influence of BRICS and what it means for the USA. Origins of BRICS. The BRICS story began as a Wall Street idea. In 2001, economist Jim O'Neill at Goldman Sachs coined the term BRIC to highlight the rising economic potential of Brazil, Russia, India, and China. By 2009, these countries held their first formal summit. In 2010, South Africa joined, giving birth to what we now know as BRICS. This was more than just a club. It was a strategic counterweight to the West. BRICS versus G7. The GDP power shift. In 2024, BRICS represents nearly 40% of global population and around 37% of global GDP, PPP, according to IMF data. Back in 2018, BRICS overtook the G7 in GDP by purchasing power parity. To compare, the US and European Union each contribute about 14 to 15% of world GDP, PPP. And with new members like Indonesia joining in 2024, BRICS's share is projected to keep climbing, possibly reaching 30% of nominal global GDP by 2025. While G7 countries are still richer per capita, the combined size of BRICS Plus tells a different story. They're not catching up, they've already caught up. Brazil's trade realignment. Brazil's trade data paints the picture. In 2022, Brazil exported $89.7 billion to China, 27% of all exports. To the US, just $38 billion, or 11%. Fast forward to 2023, and China absorbed 30% of Brazilian exports. At the same time, Brazil imported $67.8 billion from China, more than from any other nation. This isn't a fluke, it's a deliberate economic pivot. And Brazil's not alone. Other BRICS nations are redirecting their trade flows too. BYD in Brazil, a symbol of shift. In 2023, China's BYD set up an EV factory in Bahia, Brazil, on the site of an abandoned Ford plant. Brazilian officials offered land, tax breaks, and incentives. BYD accepted, and began local EV production by 2024. This wasn't just industrial relocation. It was a symbolic takeover, Chinese capital replacing American legacy. Even more striking? Brazil and China now settle trade in renminbi and reais, bypassing the US dollar entirely. Sanctions, yuan and the de-dollarization trend. Western sanctions on Russia have pushed BRICS countries closer together and closer to the Chinese yuan. According to the Federal Reserve, these sanctions have accelerated global interest in non-dollar payment systems. China's CIPS platform and currency swap lines now support yuan-based trade with countries like Russia, Brazil, and South Africa. In 2023, China and Brazil signed a deal to settle trade in their local currencies. But let's be clear, the US dollar still dominates global trade. Most emerging market invoicing is done in USD. What's changing is momentum, and that's increasingly heading toward a multi-currency world. Dream or reality? For years, BRICS leaders have floated the idea of a shared currency or at least a dedicated payment system. In reality, only local currency settlements have seen traction so far. The idea of a BRICS coin or unified currency? Experts say, it's still aspirational. Banking infrastructure gaps, trust issues, and economic differences make it a long shot. But smaller steps, like using yuan, rupees for regional trade, are very real and growing. The New Development Bank, founded in 2015, the New Development Bank, NDB, is BRICS's answer to the IMF and World Bank. It focuses on infrastructure loans across the global south, with fewer political conditions. In 2023 alone, NDB approved over $2.1 billion in financing. That includes a major transmission grid upgrade in Brazil. NDB also aims to conduct 30% of its loans in local currencies. Its lending volume is still small, but symbolically, it's huge. It proves BRICS countries are building parallel financial structures. Can BRICS lead in a multipolar world? BRICS isn't just an economic club, it's a geopolitical experiment. Its members span democracies like India and Brazil, to authoritarian states like Russia and China. That diversity is both a strength and a challenge. Consensus is hard to reach. And global leadership? Even harder. Still, BRICS is expanding its global clout. With new members, the bloc now accounts for nearly 42% of global oil output and a huge chunk of global GDP. Its stated aim? A multipolar world, where no single country, not even the US, calls all the shots. And that vision is starting to resonate, especially across the global south. So, are we witnessing the decline of US dominance? Or just the rise of more players on the world stage? The facts suggest this. BRICS Plus is no longer just a symbol, it's a strategy. What do you think? Is BRICS the future of global finance, or is it just a fragmented alliance? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Checkmark like this video, bell hit that subscribe button, and stay tuned for more deep dives from Monetary Map.